NOOB, veteran,
NOOB versus veteran. Is Phoenix Wright a good lawyer?
Canonically or in the movie?
I mean, yeah, canonically.
Yeah.
Okay.
He always gets it, or most of the time, he gets his clients off the hook. But yeah,
It appears in this film that Phoenix would look at his evidence, not figure it out, and then someone else would show up and help him and give him an assist. Is this normal, or
it happened in this movie? That happens a lot, and there are moments in the game where he will be like down and he will be like, man, I have like nothing in my court records, and then that's kind of when something like pops up. But it doesn't happen as often as, or at least from the trilogy. I don't know, it's been a while since I've played like the original first 4 trials, but it doesn't happen as often as it does in this film.
Because I would say Phoenix seems relatively incompetent in parts in this movie, to the point where I'm questioning his ability to lawyer, because he really seems flustered constantly.
Yeah, in this movie he's like super. He's like super green, and he like, it seems like every time he's in a case, it's just like well, I guess I'll wing it,
Yeah.
He's talking to his clients, like, hey, we're just gonna have fun out there. What you mean?
Well, okay. All right, that's one question I got out of the way. So, this is another episode of our ongoing series, NOOB versus Veteran, where we review video game adaptations. And in this reversal of circumstances, I, BaitZaDust, am the noob, having never played a Phoenix Wright game in my life, and my only contact with Phoenix Wright was Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and I didn't play him because his gameplay was too confusing.
And I guess on me, on the other hand, I would be the veteran in this case because I've played all the Ace Attorney games. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about the original trilogy, Apollo Justice's trilogy, Dual Destiny, Spirit of Justice, the 2 side games that Edgeworth had, that one spinoff crossover that he had with Professor Layton, the new the new 2 great Ace Attorney games, which is like a prequel to the Ace Attorney series, but that takes place in like Britain. I've dipped my, if the word Ace and Attorney is in it, I've probably done it.
Okay, all right. So we have a true series veteran here, and we are reviewing the 2012 Ace Attorney movie, directed by Takashi Miike, one of those. Takashi Miike is a pretty famous like Japanese director who has directed over 100 movies, varying in quality, I will say. Some, he's done some real big hits, like 13 Assassins, I think is like one of the greatest samurai movies of all time. But he has also done a ton of adaptations of manga and video games and whatnot, including something that both me and O have seen before, where he directed, I think, the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure live action, based off of the first part of Diamond is Unbreakable. So he's a pretty, you could say, prolific director. And in continuing this series, we're like, all right, let's go see what's going on. Let's go, do some more video game adaptations. So I was looking around and I was like, wow, they made an Ace Attorney movie. I looked at the trailer and was like, this seems very accurate. So on this podcast, we will go over the movie, and then we're gonna see, was it accurate? Did it work? Did it function as a film or as a adaptation? And hit your little review at the end. So stick around, and I guess we can begin with just our initial thoughts. As someone who has never really touched Ace Attorney and only seen the memes, this was an interesting movie. I think it throws a lot at you very quickly. The world seems very extremely dystopian in a way that they don't really dwell on, but the entire legal system seems just irreparably damaged. But I think it was pretty interesting. The cases were fun. The characters were fun. I really liked Phoenix Wright and Edgeworth. I guess their friend, their third friend, and Maya Frey. I think those are all cool characters. I will say, my big gripe is, as I've not played a Ace Attorney, but I've seen detective movies. I've seen lawyer movies and television shows. And I don't know if this really functions as either of those, because it really feels like once you're in that courtroom, the rules are made up and the score doesn't matter, because it's whatever. The judge can be like, the judge feels like he's going off of vibes. The evidence is very shaky, and it's a real like, oh well, that was a good argument. I guess that's that. And I'm a little bit lost, and maybe that's just an adaptation thing, but that's where I'm at. Like, I think it's like pretty solid, and I'm sure if I had more experience, I could enjoy it more. But I'm more perplexed, and I don't think all the dots line up when they pull out some new evidence. But I'll leave the floor to you, the veteran. What did you think about Ace Attorney?
Yeah. So this is my first time I've ever seen this live action movie. And after watching it, I actually enjoyed it. I don't think it's like the best adaptation or of a movie I've ever seen for a game, or it's top. But like for what it is, I thought it took care for the most part of what it was trying to adapt. But I'll say this: I feel like you kind of bring up how a lot of the evidence in this movie feels shaky, and just how the trial's gone. No. I would say the courtroom kind of feel how the judge kind of go off of vibes. That is kind of how it is low-key in the game.
Interesting.
Where he's like, if you say, I mean, granted, like every the thing that really matters the most in the games is the evidence and how the evidence points to certain cases. And the judge is pretty what's the word? Like expressive of it within the games themselves. Like he generally like he feels like this guy shouldn't really be. I feel like this guy should be like in a retirement home, or he shouldn't really be here. To get the job.
Okay,
but it's just like what? As long as the evidence at the end of the day kind of matches up, that's what I do my verdict. You know what I mean? But I think that's just more so just to give you the more of a fun vibe of the courtroom. But other than that, like I do feel like the cases were rushed in this movie a bit. So that's probably why the evidence just kind of felt like a bit off. Because like in the game, there would be a bit more in depth, just with a couple more like clues, or just telling you like telling you just like either a couple more clues, or just telling you like it'll bring more context to some of these crimes and cases.
I'm sure.
But I thought what was an interesting point in this film is that like every court case you see is like a reference to a court from the games, or even from like the series. Like from that first court case that Phoenix Wright's a part of, to like the one that they introduced Miles in, to even like the one at the very end when they're like ending out the movie with the guy and Miles.
I felt that. I could feel that was not random. It felt very direct.
Yeah, that's an end case for like the second game in the series. And so I appreciate, as like an Ace Attorney fan, just to like notice the little like the references that they did throughout this. And I also like the costumes. I don't think the costumes were that like were bad. I mean, they were very expressive, and they're very like anime, because the game is very expressive in anime. But
okay, so here's my thing with the costumes. I think I agree with you. They are accurate. This is true. But they're accurate in a way that a cosplay that you see at a convention is accurate. Not all of them, but a few of them did feel like it was cosplay instead of a proper costume, right?
That's fair.
I think specifically I would highlight Larry Butts.
Okay, yeah.
Was the most like did not look like at all like a human being. I would say Maya looked pretty great. The Maya costume was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think the Edgeworth and Phoenix worked for the most part. Manfred Von Karma, I don't know.
The kid didn't more with me.
You know, he looked kind of ridiculous in parts. You know, and whatnot. And of course, all of the what?
I expect you to say. I was low key waiting for you to bring up like Red White.
Red White does look relatively like a normal guy.
Here's the thing: he's not supposed to look like that at all.
Barring one scene, he's not.
He's not supposed to look like that at all, bro. And like when I see this guy, we're gonna get more into it. But actually, yeah, you can look it up right now. But like, bro,
wait,
Red White is, it's completely like different. Like for some reason, because his
what
whole
happened?
thing, and the thing is, his role in the game isn't even that big. He's only like in like the second case, and he's like a CEO of like a company. And his whole gimmick in the game is like, oh, he's Red White of the Blue Corp company because he's like he's like an American CEO type of vibe. And so he's like, so he has this like purple hair and like his purple suit, and in the games, because that's kind of like the mix of red, white, and blue. But for some reason in the movie they were like, yeah, you know what? Let's just make him a black school shooter vibe. You know, let's just give him the black glasses, black trench coat.
Okay.
That was that's the most weirdest piece. I don't know why they did that. I don't, especially because everyone else looks.
Also, you know, I don't want to be rude, but that actor, I would say, was not exactly the most handsome person that they could have chosen. Especially because he was a very old man at that time, and Red White, from what I see, appears to be a very young CEO. Okay,
that's like so some weird. Night and day.
That is so bizarre. Like out of all the different things,
that's like the one. Like when they said Red White, I'm like, what? But other than him, I think the costumes, like I didn't like, there wasn't like I know they're all like, you know, it's like a colorful cast and whatnot, but like I didn't see anyone outside that like maybe be like, wow, that looks so goofy in real life. You know, I thought they all looked pretty.
I would say a lot of the background people in the stand looked like cosplayers.
Oh yeah, the background is like definitely like full of cosplayers, like in the court cases.
Yeah,
that's like the one thing I like noticed.
All right, so that means we can get a little too further. We're gonna do a summary of the film, so I'll let you take the reins on this.
Okay, let's see. So so boom, the movie starts with a spirit medium, and she's having a vision of a young boy and a gun going off, with the bullet kind of whizzing all over the room. What follows is a vision of a fiery background with multiple guys walking in a line. And one of these guys is a spirit that proceeds to turn their head and tell her that the one who shot him was Yogi. And then the vision ends and the movie officially starts. So the movie starts with Phoenix Wright defending his client and friend, Larry Butts, who has been accused of murder. And meanwhile, in a different court case, prosecutor Miles Edgeworth is in the middle of a prosecution with someone. And you know, I kind of noticed this before, but like both of these cases are like relative in the game. Even how the guy in Phoenix's case reacts when he loses is very similar.
It seemed, yeah, I can see they had the reactions, the breakdowns. Edgeworth's case was the most like, huh? Like that's the other thing that threw me off when they pulled out the evidence for Edgeworth's case. It was just the most like, wait, that's it. That's it. That's the whole thing. And they're like, "Yep, we got him."
Yeah. Crime is no more. Yeah. They're trying to like, they were trying to like show, Miles kind of get rid of these cases as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
Because he's like, yeah, I got some, I heard a testimony.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wait, that's good enough? That was good enough that you could put that in the courtroom to be like, yeah, somebody told me something. That just immediately when I saw that, I was just the most confused. So like, that's how the legal system works here. Interesting.
Yeah, typically it would be a lot more than that, but like I said, I think this movie just rushes through like all like the cases, and so a lot of context is cut.
I think they also explained that due to crime being high or whatever, they invented a new system where all trials are 3 days and the lawyer and the prosecutor go head to head. Which is
yeah. Now, granted, that it's similar to that in the game. I don't know if that I can't remember if that's the reason. Where like at most, a trial could go up to 3 days. Just because like each trial could reveal something new about the case, and then use an additional day to like investigate further. But in this case, it might be it. It might be because of the
and there's no juries, right? But you also have a bunch of people that are like in the stands. Like people will get tickets for this, and they can show up to the courtroom to watch it go down, which is also the most like.
Just granted, the jury system has always been a weird thing in the Ace Attorney world. Because it's literally mentioned like in one game, after like in around the Apollo Justice, original game, and it just never brought up again. It just dropped.
Okay.
But yeah, we have here we're introduced to like Miles, and Miles is like a well-established prosecutor mentored by the best prosecutor at the time, Von Karma. Prosecutor is so good, he's been undefeated in cases for 40 years. If you were a defendant, I know you'd be tight seeing him on the other side of your courtroom. Like you be in there for jaywalking, and now you're serving the same sentence as Diddy. Like it's now when we pan over to Phoenix, he's struggling to finish his case. And Larry's panicking on some, that's my lawyer dog, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
Type energy. However, when all seems lost, that's when someone comes in to save the day. And that person is Maya Frey. And she is Phoenix's mentor. She comes in presenting some overlooked evidence, proceeding to absolve Larry and finding the true culprit, whom they proceed to throw their toupee in a panic and foam from the mouth. Later that day, Maya seems to be investigating something and seems to get a lead, so she heads down to courtroom's evidence room to grab a bullet. A death's bullet is from a specific case titled DO6. But then it's revealed that she isn't alone. Phoenix, on the other hand, is hanging out with Larry for a bit and then decides to go back to the office. But when he's back there, he's met with a grueling sight. Maya has been packed up. But Mia's body isn't the only thing that's there, because a foot away from her is a girl. And that girl is Maya Frey, the sister of Maya. And as we soon learn from when the detectives and police bust in to abruptly arrest her, she's a suspect of the murder. Now, soon after in the detention center, Phoenix learns about the Frey clan and how they are a clan of spirit mediums. And honestly, they're probably like the best clan around, seeing how the fact that they dress seeing it as in America, we have similar people who dress as ghosts with none of the spirit capabilities. I think I prefer Maya's type of clan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, much better clan.
Now, Ace Attorney is a pretty grounded game. The laws of physics and nature kind of work the same way that they do in real life. However, there is just like one supernatural element to the series, and this is only like really in, I guess, like Phoenix's time, and that is there's like a clan of spirit mediums that can channel spirits of people who have passed away.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's all normal after that. It's all
yeah. It's all normal. That's the only thing. That's the only from time to time. Maya and a couple other characters. They can channel the spirits of dead people. Other than that, bullets work the same, stabbings work the same. Everything is the same, but they can talk to the dead sometimes. So Phoenix decides to proceed to defend Maya and begins his investigation. But then Detective Gumshoe, the detective that arrested Maya, told Wright he had no chance of winning as he will be going up against Miles Edgeworth, leading to Phoenix confronting Miles, wondering why he's a prosecutor. And as we glimpse a bit into his past, we see that when Miles, and Larry were kids, Miles gleefully said he wanted to be a lawyer, just like his dad, which is a huge contrast to who he is now. So, fast forward a bit to the trial. Phoenix is defending Maya with all he's got, but Miles is just unfazed. He's.
I will say this is when we first see the contraption.
Yes.
The courtroom has a contraption.
Like the roof opens up, and there's a bunch of screens, and this is like this rope.
Is that game accurate?
I don't think. I think that's just a movie thing. I'm gonna keep it a bit mean. I kind of playing.
If I had to guess, I believe this might be a movie contrivance to have people do the video game stuff.
Yeah, I think that's how. Because in the game, I assume, or I always thought about it like he kind of just. There's just like the evidence is on standby. You just kind of pick it out. You know what I mean? But here it's like we have this high tech 4K Ultra HD.
Yeah, it's like holograms. Like all these gears show up, all these arms come down, and you have all these things as holograms. People are like literally like grabbing the pieces of evidence and like throwing them at each other.
Yeah,
that is a way. That is a way, I guess, to do cases.
And then wondering why they're so under budget, bro. But no, I mean, I think for the movie it works. Because I guess you can't really just throw physical evidence at each other, if you want to be dramatic. So I didn't mind that addition to it. But when Phoenix Wright is at his like lowest against Miles trying to defend, actually before I get to that point, while Phoenix is defending Maya, there's a point where it seems like he's like having like a bit of a gotcha moment on Miles, that concerns the autopsy. But then that's when Miles, infamously updates the autopsy mid-trial, making Phoenix's point mute.
Insane.
He actually does that.
I've heard about this, but insane that you can just say, actually, the autopsy report got updated in the middle of a trial. You can just be like, actually, I got new evidence. Sorry. Eat it, loser.
The prosecutors in the games always seem to have a bit more power in the courtroom, so they kind of can get away with stuff like that. It's always like the most like frustrating thing because it's like, bro, I wasn't. What do you mean that this evidence is outdated? Yeah, he updates the autopsy mid trial, and that kind of makes Phoenix's point mute. I feel like this trial, I mentioned this before, but I feel like the trial is like a bit faster paced compared to the game. But I get that there's other trials that they want to fit in.
I think it's around the point with the like I remember where Phoenix is looking. He describes because the whole case hinges on the fact that Red White says that he was in the room across and that he saw this, and he describes a bunch of elements that he couldn't have known unless he was in the room.
Yes. So yeah, Miles has been cooking right throughout this trial, and is almost going to win and have Maya declared guilty. But then at his lowest, someone encouraged Phoenix Wright to keep going, and that person was Mia, and she was being channeled by Maya. But after her words of encouragement, she leaves, and Phoenix finds the right evidence, no pun intended, that not only proves that Maya's innocence, but showed that the true culprit was Red White himself. And this evidence is so good, Miles couldn't even say anything. So Maya was able to be exonerated while Red White, the person who actually slimed out Mia, got arrested. But still, Maya wanted to know why Red slimed her sister out. So questioning if it was from the DO6 case, but Red had no response at this time. We then take a little look into what the DO6 case was. Turns out it was a murder case for Miles' dad, Gregory Edgeworth, that the police were investigating, and they consulted the help of a spirit medium, the Faye's mom, Misty Faye, to tell them who committed the murder, to which he said it was Yanni Yogi. However, as it turns out, it was not Yogi, so as a result, controversy befell the spirit mediums, and they were seen as frauds. Thus, mediums were no longer able to be used for investigations, as they were seen as unreliable.
They were being used for investigations?
Yes. Because, like, because they had this power to like channel it, but after that case, it just
up until then, it was like we were like, yeah, the ghosts. We were consulting ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And mind you, we know, they could do that. But to the rest of the world, it was like the equivalent of like, asking your local psychic. The police asking the local psychic, what happened here. You know what I mean? And they I wouldn't say like it's always been like that, but I would say like Misty was like a famous channeler they always consulted about crimes for like maybe like a year, honestly, off the top of my head, right? I don't like remember. But yeah, that one case where she accused Yanni Yogi and it turned out it wasn't him, that ruined her reputation. And and spirit mediums became no more. Their testimony and their work became no more in our judicial system.
Wow. What a travesty, truly.
Well, you don't want to you don't want to depend on psychic women for advice.
I think psychic women do have a place in society, but I do not believe it is as law and legal testimony in court cases.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it, you know what I mean?
All right.
But yeah, we get a little glimpse of Miles on a boat sailing with someone a little later on after this trial. And while he's sailing, suddenly 2 gunshots ring out. The guy he was on the boat with jumps into the water, leaving a gun behind, to which Edgeworth picks up the gun because, every Phoenix Wright client got to incriminate themselves somehow.
Yeah, okay, that's the other thing I'll say I've noticed is everyone loves handling evidence with their bare hands in this. Everyone just loves doing it, man. Everyone loves going to a crime scene and be like, let me go grab all this stuff with my bare hands. I don't...
He's like, hey, bro, we gotta have these people... We gotta have Phoenix feel like he's against the wall somehow, you know what I mean? And what better way than to have every client somehow incriminate themselves? Like, at this rate, he's gonna have a client like look at it directly at a camera and be like, man, I can't believe I killed that guy. I didn't kill him, Phoenix. You gotta believe me. I was reading the script at the time. It was a lie. But yeah, so after that, gets arrested for the murder of who we later learn is Robert Hammond. And Phoenix sees this and he goes to defend Miles, who at first refuses, saying, he'll find a better lawyer.
At first, Miles is like, has like the Wallahi, I'm finished. Like, it's a very much of just like, oh no, I'm cooked.
Yeah, he's in a bad spot. I don't even blame him for not wanting Phoenix at first because damn, does Phoenix is Phoenix super green in this? But Detective Gumshoe insists that Phoenix be the one to defend him, as no other lawyer wants to take Miles Edgeworth on, and as he made too many ops with it, like every lawyer he's ever prosecuted against. I know when he got arrested on the news, they saw him and they threw something on the grill expeditiously because man did a lot of people. So Phoenix returns to Miles and insists that he be the one to defend him, as if it wasn't for Miles defending Phoenix as a kid in a class trial years ago where Wright was accused of stealing money, he wouldn't even be a lawyer now. So with that, Miles decided to let Phoenix defend him after all. Now it's the day of the trial, and Phoenix sees that he's going to be going up against Von Karma, and as the he sees he's going to be going up against Von Karma as the prosecutor, and Von Karma wishes Phoenix good luck before the trial in front of all the news cameras, and then proceeds onwards to the trial. And when the trial starts, with the witness Lotta Hart giving her testimony, she said that she saw Miles shooting John Hammond. But as she goes on with Phoenix, he realizes something about this witness, that she's clearly lying, and that the decisive evidence was a picture she had of just two silhouetted figures who she couldn't see either of the faces on. But exposing this contradiction, the judge gave the defense more time to investigate. So while investigating, it's revealed that a Loch Ness monster, unquote, sighting appeared earlier. That a Loch Ness monster sighting that appeared earlier was caused by Larry adding too much helium to a Steel Samurai blow-up balloon, which blew up and crashed at the exact time a couple was taking a picture in front of it.
They also make a big deal of the almost Christmas line. Is that important?
No. No. I don't even remember that line in the game, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay. No, now,
well, I mean, I guess the most important thing is like the fact of the time of that
I only say this because of like the 5 things I know about Phoenix Wright. One of the biggest, like, quote unquote memes from Phoenix Wright is the almost Christmas line, or the, it was this time, that means it wasn't Christmas, right? And people post that like on New Year's Eve, right? Or not New Year's Eve, on Christmas Eve. They'll post the photo like, it was almost Christmas. That means it's not Christmas. Like, as a bit. And I thought that was a much more important, and they made a big deal of it in the thing. So I guess maybe that was Takashi playing into the joke.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to be honest, it's been a minute, so maybe that was a line. That could have been that sounds like it could have been a line that came up if you press a certain piece of info. But the more important line is the midnight line that Larry gives on later on, where he says, it's like 30 minutes past New Year's, or 30 minutes past Christmas, and that kind of like establishes where the murder took place. But I did like that scene though. It was very just the sudden, like, everyone just drop it because of how dumb it was. that was fun. But yeah, it's on the second day of the trial, Von Karma calls for what seems to be like an amnesiac boat keeper around the lake, as a witness who claimed they saw Edgeworth go by his boat hut, muttering to himself, "No way, shooting a man is," pinning him at the scene of the crime. Upon hearing this, Phoenix was stumped and couldn't think of any rebuttal. Maya was calling upon Mia to give them a little spirit pep talk because this was base testimony they were going up against, and still nothing. As a result, the judge proceeded with his verdict, declaring Miles guilty, and it's all over. If Phoenix was not able to prove his innocence, until Larry Butts shows up sitting. He was a witness at the scene and had additional testimony. With the new testimony, Phoenix was able to convince the judge to rescind his verdict and continue the trial. And when the trial continued, Larry mentions he's heard a gunshot before midnight, contradicting that other testimony stating that the gunshot came after.
And by also, I can't stress enough how insane this entire segment is. The judge does a verdict, calls him guilty, rescinds the guilty verdict, right? And then another person just shows up and says, "I have new evidence," who has to enter the courtroom. No one really knows what this guy. And also, I can't stress this enough. The person that that is bringing in the new evidence happens to be the lawyer's friend. Like, personal friend shows up and says, "Well, actually, I have this evidence, right? I have this testimony right here." And they just accept that. They just put that in.
Yeah, it's wild. I'll say this. What do they call it? The lawyer client relationships. How that ever goes. They throw that all that out in the verse, bro. If you got some testimony, come on up here, dog.
I would say, okay, Saul Goodman would just run all over this verse. Okay, Saul Goodman would be unstoppable in the Ace Attorney verse.
Hey, dog, I don't know, man. Like, I mean,
he was designed for it, bro.
As a defendant, as a lawyer, probably. If he, but I don't know, because we got as the series gets deeper, people kind of figure out like how to see through like forged evidence and testimony, and then, you go up against like one good prosecutor or something that's like, actually he's lying, and I could prove he's lying with all of this testimony and all of this evidence and whatnot. I could even prove that like Saul Goodman like set this all up. I mind you, I feel like
I don't know, man. If you give him especially if you give him like Huel or whatever, can like slip something in somebody's pocket. I think Saul Goodman would cook. Saul Goodman would cook in this verse because that is the most. If anybody could get somebody to walk in off the street and say, "Yeah, I saw that," it's Saul Goodman.
It's all fun and games until he gets exposed, dog. And even in this world, like defense lawyers, I feel like are held at such a much higher standard than like prosecutors, because like a prosecutor could like get away with like forged evidence or two, but a defense lawyer does that, and it's like that's it. GG's. How dare you lie and smear the truth, bro? But that's something a little later down the series.
Okay.
But yeah, so Larry Butts comes in and with his testimony, and we see that Larry is actually accurate and that a loud bang was presumably heard at the time that he said, which was after midnight. Meaning one thing. Someone came to the lake later to impersonate the gunshot from earlier, meaning to set Miles up. And Phoenix Wright suggests this person is the boat's housekeeper, who is now nowhere to be found, and a manhunt was sent for him, giving the defense more time to investigate. So Phoenix and Maya head to the boathouse to investigate, and during their investigation, they come across a detailed plan for murder, but someone sneaks them with a taser from behind, knocking them out. Later, when they come to, Phoenix is at the detention center talking to Miles, confirming that there is a mastermind behind the scene, and Red White is involved, so he plans on questioning him and the child further. Then we get a flashback to a trial Miles' dad was a part of against Von Karma. And it looks like his dad was cooking, saying his client didn't have a gun. But, that's when Karma put out a gun of his own out of evidence, stating it was found at a defendant's home. Shook up later, Gregory went to the evidence room, unknowingly followed by a young Miles, to check the gun out. And that's when a mysterious figure appeared. And upon seeing Gregory, started throwing hands with him. Miles tries to help his dad, but he gets thrown and knocked back for a bit. But here's how I know Miles is secretly a YN, because during Gregory's struggle with the figure, a gun drops and slides towards Miles. And tell me why the moment his fingertips touch the blick, it's like he got a 1-up. And he's instantly standing holding that piece like nothing happened. No, this is how dudes be when they get their first pull.
Truly.
Like he's already in the sense and everything. Just
also, I do want to shout out that in during the Edgeworth's dad's time, the contraption was a little less advanced. We see an earlier version of the contraption where it is TV screens. It's a big computer screen instead of like the holograms. So we like that consistency in it, a consistency for something that was not needed or asked for in the adaptation.
But yeah, and then after all that, the flashback ends with Gregory getting rocked, and now all Miles remembers is him. Now all Miles remembers is how his dad seemingly tampered with evidence, making him vow to never be a lawyer like him. Suddenly, Maya comes in declaring Red White has been killed, and someone clearly did it to silence him. Now, with no leads, Phoenix is scrambling to find evidence, but in the trial, he has nothing. But just about when Judge is about to give his verdict, his gavel gets stopped by the Blue Badger, the police district's mascot, which no one was underneath was in a suit of, because for some reason when they cut to the scene behind them and the costume falls, the head is off, but like there's no one in there. So I explained that. I don't know. But it is then revealed that the boathouse keeper was found with his pet parrot, Polly, and was brought to the court. It's then when Phoenix realizes that this man may be Yanni Yogi, as his parrot shares the same name as Yanni's wife. But the boathouse keeper seemingly can't remember his identity, nor is there any way to verify it. However, when it seems like the cross-examination is going nowhere, Phoenix thought of an idea that might work. That idea was to cross-examine his pet parrot. Bruh, I'm telling you, if I'm being put on trial and my lawyer suggests we interrogate a bird, the only murder case we're gonna be having to solve is what I'm about to do on him, because that's crazy. And it's also something that happens in the game too, which I appreciate him for bringing. Now,
there does appear to be a lot of stalling for time.
Yes,
because if you don't, the judge will just say, yeah, actually, I'm just going to side this way or that way, which is crazy. So it does appear there is a whole lot of like,
yeah,
how about this?
yeah. I will say that is Phoenix is a competent lawyer, but he does bluff a lot in the games. Like he does, like there are times where it's just like, man, if the evidence isn't working, well, Your Honor, what if we look at it like this way? And they're like, what are you talking about? Why would we look at it this way? I don't know. There might be something there. And then like, and then when they look at it that way, you'd be like,
what an incredible legal system.
The best one in the country. You know, Phoenix Wright actually takes place in America, or at least video game wise.
I heard it's like what, San Fran, Tokyo, or something like
that. Maybe, but I know that.
Well, I think what I've heard is that it's because the Western adaptations changes things.
Okay, so maybe that's why.
In for Phoenix, because I think it's supposed to take place in Japan, maybe. It will say like it. I think originally, yeah, it's Japan, but in English localization, it's LA.
Okay.
Oh, that's why we get memes of like, you know, characters being like, I'm gonna eat my burger, and you know, they're eating like onigiri.
Man, this is a really nice chili donut I got. Yum yum.
Yeah.
It's just clearly a rice ball.
So it's an interesting detail. But yeah, you were saying about the bird.
Yeah, so Polly is now on stand, and Phoenix is trying to get information from her, but it's going nowhere. However, soon Polly starts repeating certain information, and Wright realizes that this is the information that is pertaining only to Yanni's wife, Polly. However, even with this connection, it's still not enough, and it seems Phoenix still can get more info out of the bird. It's looking bleak, but that's when Polly says one more thing. I love you, Yanni. After this, it verified that the boathouse keeper was indeed Yanni Yogi. And the boathouse keeper confesses that this is his true identity, and he actually doesn't even have amnesia. However, he yells he did not kill Gregory Edgeworth, but just Hammond, who at the time of his being his lawyer told him to take a guilty plea on the grounds of insanity. And regrettably, he did take that claim, and the court proceeded to rule him not guilty due to that insanity. However, due to this verdict, everybody around him saw him as a murderer and vandalized his home and accosted him and his wife. And it got to a point where it was wearing down his wife's mental state, to the point where she took her own life. Due to this, years later, to the present, he shot John Hammond and then later framed Edgeworth. The court has now seen that Miles was innocent in this trial, but that's when Miles stands up to confess something else. That the person who shot his dad wasn't Yogi, but rather, it was Miles himself. So the judge then proceeds to reopen the DO6 case with Miles as the prime suspect. So Wright proceeds to immediately study up on the case because he still believes in Miles. So back at the trial, Edward confesses that when he was a kid, in order to help his dad from Yogi, he threw his gun at Yogi, accidentally discharging it, shooting his dad by mistake. And as a result, his father passed away, and it seemed that this telling of events was accurate until Phoenix states that something that flips the whole case on its head. There were 2 bullets in that gun before the incident, and then 0 bullets in that gun afterwards, meaning 2 shots went off, but only 1 bullet was found. So where's the other bullet? Since there was no other bullets found at the crime scene, Phoenix realized the culprit must have taken the hit from the bullet Edgeworth shot and carried it with them. And he realizes the culprit was the only other person connected to the DO6 case, the prosecutor, Von Karma. At this revelation, Edgeworth states if it was karma, he wouldn't have gone to a doctor to remove it, as he believes in perfection, and wouldn't want any medical records. So he most likely still has the bullet in him, or on him, or in this case, in him. At this point, Phoenix borrows Larry's metal detector and proceeds to scan Karma.
But, you know.
And when he gets to Karma's shoulder, it starts to go off like smoke alarms in black households. However, even with the metal detector going off, Karma confesses that he does have a bullet in him, just unrelated to DL6. So Phoenix presses him, stating that they can grab the gun from that case and compare the ballistic markings, but alas, the gun is missing. The trial seems over, but after Phoenix knocks over and breaks Mia's thinker clock, he sees a piece of evidence found within the clock itself, and that evidence is the bullet supposedly from the gun in the DO6 case. The bullet came from the gun that Karma presented in the trial previous to that incident, claiming it to be the gun used. However, Gregory at the time suspected foul play, which is why he wanted to investigate the gun himself. Phoenix suspects that if the gun in Von Karma came from the same gun that killed Gregory, by comparing the rifling marks, they'll be able to confirm it, and they did. So after he does the bullet flip in the air, compares the both, and sees the 0 match, to be completely honest, in this part of the movie, I feel like they changed a little things with the case, because like I replayed the part, and I'm just like, okay, I don't quite understand the 0 match part, but you know, long story short, the bullets are from the gun Von Karma, the bullet that's in Von Karma, and the bullet that Phoenix Wright had, or from the same gun that Von Karma brought in. So it proves that Von Karma had that gun and was the one who shot Gregory. So upon exposing Karma, he starts tweaking. You know, someone come get the grandpa, because they're having a whole episode right now. He then says that prosecuting is how the justice system functions, and if criminals can do whatever they want, he should be allowed to do the same to put them away. But Phoenix ain't with that, as he confronts Karma and states that the justice system isn't about just finding criminals, it's also about finding the truth. And at this, a now disheveled Karma proceeds to get arrested and escorted out, as Miles gets his verdict for the DO6 case as not guilty. With the Miles case now concluded, the movie is approaching its end. Larry's back to working for the Steel Samurai set. Miles is back to being a prosecutor. Maya is going back to her clan's village, and Phoenix is still defending as a lawyer. And as Phoenix and Miles are going back and forth in a court case, there's where in a courtroom where, you know, contradictions are so plentiful, a good lawyer can find the truth to them. A good attorney can. You know, you can be sure that Phoenix will be the one to point it out with an objection. And that is Ace Attorney.
Incredible. Great summary.
Thank you.
Fantastic summary. Boy, I'd be so annoyed if the prosecutor and lawyer were friends. And my legal case is like a hobby. It's like a fun game that they're having with each other. That's fantastic. I'd be mad if I was I'd be mad if I was a defendant. I'd also be mad if I was like the family of the victim, to be like, oh, these guys are just buddies having a good time up here.
Yo, that's my boy Miles, dog. That's my boy. Yo, how you doing, Miles? This guy, I'm not gonna lie, he looking kind of bad. I ain't gonna like, yo, go a little easy. I mean, it depends. If you did the crime, yeah, you're cooked. But if you didn't do it, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you just gotta go through it.
You just gotta go through it. You know, you might have some secrets exposed in the midst of that. You know what I mean? But other than that, you'll be fine at the end of the day.
Well, I'll say, overall, this film is enjoyable. It's a little bit confusing for somebody who does not know like the lore, and I don't think they do enough to explain the legal system. But even again, I think the legal system works when you are playing the game, but when you are an outside observer, it is the most nonsense I've ever seen. And overall, like I said, I think it's fine. It's nothing like super special, but it's decently acted. I appreciate that Takashi Miike, I'm gonna say his name different every time. Used, leaned into the game's aesthetics. I'm surprised we didn't get like a full objection, like a stylized.
You know what I'm actually more surprised about is that we didn't get a rendition of Cornered.
I suspect, if I had to guess, that is a money issue.
Oh, yeah?
Even though it is their product, I wouldn't be surprised if you had to pay someone extra to get Cornered into the movie. Because that's the other thing I noticed. Because
you just Capcom, because like that.
You can ask Capcom, but it's it's whoever the composer is that you might have to pay. Like I don't know how that goes down, but that's what I'm assuming. Because it's a frequent thing. Like getting the licensing for the music can be a whole different thing. Because one thing I did notice is the music in general was kind of absent from this movie.
I did hear some renditions of some tracks for sure, though.
Oh, you did?
I can. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't tell you their names on top of my head, but no, they were there. It's just I was surprised that Cornered wasn't one of them, especially when we got to like the Von Karma part.
But overall, like I said, it was enjoyable. Like nothing crazy, but enjoyable. But what's your final take on Ace Attorney?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I didn't know much, if not anything, about this. I think I agree with what you say, where like Mike kind of leans into the aesthetic of the game's world, and like what just in the costume and the setting, and just even how like characters like act. And I think it was a pretty. I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed my time watching it more than I thought I would. Of course, I'll always recommend playing the game instead. Like if you ever have a chance, I do recommend those first three games, which is like its own trilogy. It's literally the Phoenix Wright trilogy. And if you start with that, you're gonna get like hooked onto the series, because that's how I got hooked on. Because they were originally just originally like games that I bought for my Switch because I was just bored one day, and like after that, I'm like, okay, well, wonder what the next one is, and the next one, and the next one, and like I literally just caught up to the series like a year ago, with the Great Ace Attorney series, and it's crazy that we still haven't had any like signs of a new Ace Attorney game since like I think since 2021 or 2020.
You gotta believe.
I gotta believe, man. I have to.
The next one's gonna be full 3D open world Ace Attorney.
Okay, we gotta.
And Phoenix is gonna have a gun.
Look at how they massacred my boy. But no, I did really enjoy it.
What I would want to bring back. This is like very tangentially related to Ace Attorney, but I wish they could do another LA Noir. LA Noir was pretty great. That was a pretty cool game. I understand whatever technology did, it was ridiculously expensive, and Rockstar was not the best at managing that. And I also understand that every person at Rockstar is currently like draining their blood, in a ritual to make GTA 6. I get that, but boy oh boy, I would like a LA Noire 2 or something, or just a game with that system, because it was a pretty good system. I did like the interrogation and detective work and all that stuff.
See, I gotta check it out. See, the only particular game I really enjoyed is the Danganronpa, which is also a series that ended like around 2018 or something.
What would you rate this on our peak scale? Would you call this peak, mid, or trash?
I enjoyed it. I think it's a fun movie, and I think if you watch it, maybe the Ace Attorney fan in me favors it a bit more just because I can see the references. But honestly, I'd give it like a mid.
It's a mid. Yeah, it's a mid for me. I don't just really dislike it strongly, but it's not like a fantastic. It's not if we haven't reviewed it, but if I'm thinking like pinnacle on video game adaptations, right? I'd put like Arcane or the Mario movie or something, but this is not it. So yeah, mid, and then like mid. It's just in the middle. It's solid. It's a good time if you're an Ace Attorney fan, probably. Nothing crazy.
See, I put it just made peak mid for me.
Peak mid.
Yeah.
Peak mid feels a little high.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of heart in this.
There is.
And it's not like something where it's just I mean, I guess you could say all live adaptations are crash grabbing one way or the other. But it doesn't feel like he's trying to like really cash grab it. Like there's a lot of love, there's a lot of like references, not to say like, just because it has references, it's like an A+ movie. But like I enjoy what the stuff I've seen, and it was fun to like see certain cases performed in certain ways. I'll just say the cases were just rushed.
Yeah.
And the evidence was rushed. But for what it was there, just the feel of it, I like it. Maybe it would go down to like a mid, but I like the aesthetics of the world a lot. I think it really does nail the initial feelings.
So, yeah, that's a review of Ace Attorney 2012. If you liked what you saw and you want to, support us and see more, please like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. Comment on what you want to see next in terms of video game adaptations. We have plenty of content coming up. You will not be disappointed. The next thing that we're going to review for Noob versus Veteran will be something that will probably not be as good as Ace Attorney. One might say it could even be bad. And we will be bringing in a special guest for this one, because we have a person I think who is a greater veteran in this series than either of us. We will be reviewing Monster Hunter.
Okay.
So get excited for that track. And we will have our head artist, Novakadis, swinging by to give his take, as he is the Monster Hunter veteran.
Yes.
And we'll see just how accurate this is, because, and I got a feeling, I just have a feeling he'll have some gripes. But we'll see you guys then. Take care.
Thank you for stopping by.
Keep rocking and rolling.
Be the ace.
No, there's no change in the plan. Bye.